Hello friends, I'm Dr. Rupali Indayat, Assistant Professor, Department of Chemistry, Radhabai Kale, Mahila Mahavidyalaya, Ahmednagar. And today we are going to see agricultural chemistry. In that, we see chapter number 2, problematic soil and soil testing. Today we are going to see the part 3rd. In this part 3rd, we focus on the calcareous soil. How the calcareous soil form, or how the normal soil is converted into calcareous soil. Now, these calcareous soils are formed in warm, temperate and semi-arid regions where rainfall is low and evaporation is high. Here, the soil containing calcium carbonate and magnesium carbonate in varying proportion. And for that, precipitation is not sufficient to leach out all the basic products of weathering. And soil has high concentration of soluble salts of calcium and magnesium. Due to evaporation of water or absorption of water by plants, calcium is precipitated as calcium sulfate or calcium carbonate, and magnesium is precipitated as magnesium carbonate. Due to this precipitation, calcium and magnesium salts get accumulated in soil. And if the soil body is highly permeable, these salts accumulate in parent material from which soil has formed. Sodium and potassium salts are either deposited in lower depths or removed from the soil completely. Here we see how the normal soil is converted into calcareous soil. These calcareous soils are highly buffered and carbonate present in them get hydrolyzed due to presence of water. We may show this reaction as calcium carbonate. On treatment with water, it gets dissociated as Ca2 plus OH minus. Along with that, when this calcium carbonate treated with water molecule as well as carbon dioxide, it get converted into calcium or CaHCO3 twice. It may dissociated as Ca2 plus H plus HCO3 2 minus plus HC plus CO3 2 minus. The pH of such a soils depends on the concentration of CO2 in soil air, and its value lies between 7.5 to 8.5. The high pH and presence of calcium and magnesium carbonates in these soil reduce the availability of some of the plant nutrients. Diseases like Lyme-induced chlorosis are caused in crops due to this type of soil. That means due to the calcareous soil. The presence of excess amount of calcium imbalances the uptake of certain nutrients like potassium and magnesium. These calcareous soils are very productive and are suitable for wide variety of crops. Now then we see, after seeing the types of soils, we focus on the soil testing. We see introduction to soil testing. Soil testing is used for determining the soil fertility level. Soil fertility plays an important role in increasing the crop production in almost all the soils of the world. It provides the plant with proper nutrients in proper proportion at proper time. It is difficult for the farmers or cultivators to know the amount and type of fertilizer to be used by them for their land and to get the optimum results. The problem of fertilizer use needs a quantitative assessment of the fertility status of the soil. That is, it can be measure the level of NPK in soil, pH of soil, salt content, salinity and bicarbonate content, texture. All these things are determined or assessed by the soil testing. On the basis of these information, an agronomist can recommend the type of fertilizers and its proportion to be used to the farmer. Different methods of soil fertility evaluation. Soil testing has been done by soil scientists as an aid in determining the soil fertility level. It is rapid chemical analysis to assess the available nutrient status of soil and includes interpretation, evaluation, and fertilizer recommendations. Soil scientists can guide the farmer in fertilizer used for different crops after knowing the chemical analysis results, soil type, and crop history. Different methods applied for fertility evaluation are pot culture experiments we may apply it, field experiments we can do, biological test, and deficiency symptoms, as well as plant tissue analysis is also, or these methods are applied for the fertility evaluation of the soil along with the soil testing. Now then we see what is the objectives of soil testing. Assessing nutrient status and grouping soils in two classes relative to the nutrient levels is the main objective of soil testing. Predicting the probability of getting profitable response. Helping to evaluate soil productivity. Next objective is determining specific soil conditions like alkalinity, salinity, and acidity. Then we are going through the phases of soil testing. Soil testing is done in 3 phases. First phase, collection of soil sample from the field, while second one is the analysis of the sample in the laboratory and interpretation of results and fertilizer recommendations. Now we go through the first phase, that is collection of soil sample from the field. The collection of soil sample is the most important step in soil testing. Its chemical analysis gives the information about nutrient status of the soil, and soil scientist guides the farmer for profitable use of fertilizers. Soil sample cannot be collected at any time throughout the year. Summer is the most appropriate time for collection of sample. The sample may be collected after the harvest of crop as the soil is dry at that time. Wet sample have to be dried before being tested. The method of sampling depends largely on the purpose for which it is to be collected. When general fertility is to be found out, the number of samples to be collected varies according to the size of the plot. Now see the collection of soil sample from the field. Suppose the square-like soil we have and we want to collect the sample. Now the stars or the marks located on the various portion of the soil is marked like this, and then we collect the samples from all these points. Sampling pattern for collecting a representative soil sample as by using the sampling pattern. Suppose for that we have to ploughing depth is given. Up to that depth we have make a V-shaped cut in the soil and remove whatever the material present in this. Firstly, debris, other trees material, crop material, we have to remove it, and then we collect the lower portion of that soil. Soil sample tools and sampling depths. To obtain a representative sample, a composite sample should be collected consisting of small portions of soil from approximate 12 locations. For that, we can use any of the tool like auger, spade and khurpi. Before collecting the sample, organic debris, rocks and trash from the surface of sample area are removed. The field is divided according to slope, color, texture, depth and cropping pattern. Now, these are some of the tools used for collecting soil samples. Each unit is divided into two parts and zigzag line is drawn so that it covers whole area. A V-shaped cut is made in the soil to the depth of sampling. Next, 2 to 3 cm thick vertical slice of the sample depth is removed from the smoothest side of the cut. The collected samples are mixed thoroughly from the bucket by pouring on a piece of clean paper or cloth and mixed thoroughly. It is divided into 4 equal parts and opposite portions are discarded. Remaining true portions are mixed thoroughly and the procedure is repeated to get the desired quantity of sampling. That means we again divide that portion of soil into 4 equal parts. Opposite portions are discarded. Remaining 2 portions are again mixed thoroughly. Make it 4 equal parts and opposite portions are discarded. Do the same procedure up to which we get the desired quantity of soil sampling. These are the sampling tools used for the sampling. Sampling tools. Proper sampling tools are essential for collection of good soil samples. Screw type and post hole augers as are generally used for this purpose. Screw type auger is used for harder soils. For soft, moist soil, soil tube or probe is used, which allows a uniform portion of the soil to be collected rapidly and accurately by pushing the tube into the ground to the desired depth and removing a soil core. The other tools used for this purpose are shovel, spade, khurpi, etc. Soil from all the fields should be tested once in every 3 to 4 years. More soil testing is required for the soils on which vegetables and other cash crops are grown. The frequency may vary depending upon the cropping intensity, soil type, fertilization rate and weather conditions. The test for P and K is needed only once in 3 to 4 hours, while the test for available nitrogen is done annually. Organic matter levels are tested once in every 5 years. Then we see soil sample information sheet. When soil sample is submitted for soil testing, some information must be required. That information sheet is submitted with soil sample. That information sheet include the following points: name of the farmer with complete address, last crop grown on the soil, date of sampling, whether crop is to be irrigated, amounts of nutrients applied last year, soil characteristics such as low-lying, upland, stoniness and topography, as well as crop and variety to be grown and yield goals desired. Cropping pattern to be followed. Which cropping pattern farmer should be followed? We must be given in the information sheet, as well as depth of sampling, drainage slope is also required. All these information is necessary when we submit any soil sample for the testing. Sampling should not be done from when we or from where we don't take the samples. Farm lanes and field borders. We can't take the soil sample from these places, as well as fertilizers banned in row crops. Any areas which are distinct from the dominant soil type in the field, like eroded spots, small saline areas, sandy ridges, unless these areas are sampled separately. Either we sample such types of places or areas separately. Dead furrows and headlands. We can't take the samples from these also. Old manure piles. Locations where brush piles have been burned. From where we or from uh, sampling should not be done from which areas we have to discuss here. Then we go for analysis in the laboratory. The soil sample is sieved. When our sample is reached in the laboratory, then what they do? Firstly, they sieve the soil sample through a 2 mm sieve and then analyze for texture, carbonate content, pH, electrical conductivity, and the level of available nutrients. The chemical forms of an essential plant nutrient in the soil whose variation in amount is reflected in the differential growth of plant and yield. The basic principle of the soil testing is that simple, rapid chemical analytical procedures should be designed for accurate measurement of the level of available nutrients in the soil. Then we go towards the classification chart for soil test data. From the soil testing results, the soils may be classified into different categories like low, medium or high, as well as acidic, alkaline or neutral. See see the chart where they given nutrient, low, medium and high category of soils. If you see the first nutrient, that is organic carbon, percentage of organic carbon, if it is less than 0.50, then that soil is categorized as low. If it is in between 0.50 to 0.75, then it is categorized as a medium soil. And when that organic carbon content is greater than 0.75, then it is categorized as high type of soil. Like the same way, available nitrogen, available phosphorus and available potassium is reported. For the available potassium, if the content is less than 125, then it is categorized as low. If it is in between 125 to 210, it is categorized as medium. While the potassium content is greater than 210, then it called high type of soil. Now, then we go for the classification chart for soil pH. According to soil pH, we categorize the soil. If the pH range or soil pH is less than 6.0, it is called acid soil. While soil pH is in between 6 to 8.5, it is called as good soil. And if the soil pH is greater than 8.5, then it is categorized as alkali soil. Then we go for interpretation of results and fertilizer recommendations. On the basis of soil testing results, fertilizer doses are recommended for better yield of crops. If the level of nutrient in soil is very low, the fertilizer dose for the crop is increased and vice versa. Target yields can be made for the recommended fertilizers. The fertilizers requirement for any crop is or can be calculated as total amount of nutrients needed by the crop minus amount of nutrients can be supplied by soil. From this formula, we can find out the fertilizer requirement for any crop. Thus, farmer can give balanced fertilizer to the crop and achieve his target of the season.